All right, welcome back. It's Monday, so it's time to gain some momentum with our Promethean power. Today, one of the things that's so amazing about ClassFlow, Promethean's free cloud-based lesson delivery system, is that you can use it a little bit like a learning management system by rostering classes. And so I wanted to show you just for a moment how to do that because it is super, super simple. And then I'll show you a few things that you can do once you've rostered classes in order to help with synchronous, asynchronous learning, both, as well as if you wanted to do a flipped classroom model and have your students watch something before class time, or if you had a student that was absent and you wanted to deliver some material to them after for them to catch up on. And so from our ClassFlow landing page, I'm logged in as my teacher login, and then you're going to click on classes. And here you can see what comes up is my feed. I have a 4th grade class, a reading class, a grade 3, a math, and a period 1. These, on this case, are just my classes that I use to help instruct and help to show the power of ClassFlow. So here you can see in my feed, you can see all the lessons I've delivered and who I've delivered them to. So you can see here my skipped counting by tens I've delivered to my open class. Now let's say that I want to clear my feed. It's the end of the school year and I want to get these things out of here. I'm just going to click this trash can here. And then it'll ask me, am I sure I want to delete that? And I, of course, tell it yes. So then you can come down here and see for my different classes I've deleted. And now I'm going to add in something new. So I'm going to click on my new tab. And I'm going to click on add a class. Now you can also import your Google Classroom from here as well. But in this case, I'm going to add a class. So I click on add a class and I'm going to put a name. So since I already have a period 1, I'm going to do period 2 here. I can also add the subject and the grade level, but those are optional. The only thing I have to do is name my class. And then what I want to do here is I want to choose the student-generated class for 2 reasons. First of all, that allows for all the bells and whistles of ClassFlow, as well as allows my students to create ClassFlow lessons so they could use it kind of like if you were to ask for a PowerPoint, they'd be able to do that in ClassFlow, as well as it's the easiest for me as a teacher. And so I'm going to choose and create. So now you can see over here in my period 2 class right here. I also get a class code. Now this is specific only to my period 2 class. So when I click on grade 4 and I look at my roster, you notice I get a different class code. So in my period 2, I want to go ahead and roster students. Now for students with accounts, I have a link here. For students without accounts, I have another link. So if you've had students who have an account, you are just going to give them this ClassFlow code. I'll show that in just a minute. First, I'm going to show you students without accounts. So students without accounts, it tells you to ask your students to register using the same URL address you use and select sign up by student. And then you will give them this class code. So let's look at registering when you don't have a student account already. So for my student who doesn't have an account, they're going to go to the ClassFlow.com website. Remember, ClassFlow is free and cloud-based. So any student can access it on any device. Any teacher can access it on any device, including a web-based smartphone. And so here we're going to choose log in. The student is going to obviously choose log in as a student. Now, if you are a Google school or a Microsoft school that uses Office 365, your students will already have the ability to log in with these two. But for this scenario, we are going to assume they do not have an account. And so we're going to click the sign up now. If they have a sign in with Google or sign in with Microsoft, they would just use their Google credentials or their Office 365 credentials to log in. But we are going to choose the sign up now. And here we're going to choose sign up as a student. Here is where your student will put in the class code. So you need to make sure they have it ahead of time. This cannot be your open class code. It has to be a class that you created. So here we have 6T2BW. So my student would type in 6T2BW. Whoops, 6T2BW. And you can see you have to have it perfect. Now they're going to create a username. If it were my class, I would just have them have their username be their first name, last initial. But if you have a common first name, last initial, like, you know, we always use Jane Smith, it might be Jane S1. But here, so I am going to use a former dog of mine so that I know that it will not be used for a student someday. And so here I'm going to put in his first name and his last name. And you'll notice that the email address is optional. So no student data here is going to be stored via an email address. Then they're going to need to choose a password. And this is where you as a teacher could help with the password. I'm just going to use the one that I always use for my students so that I know. And I know you're wondering, what do I do if my student forgets their password? You can reset it on the teacher's side. And then they need to click this box that their teacher, parent, or guardian has read and agreed to the terms and conditions policy and cookies policy. And then I entered a name that already exists. So let me see. Let me choose another name real quick. So I just switched the name to Hortense. And so now I'm going to click sign in. And then the student can choose to save. I choose don't save. So now it says, congratulations, you're signed in to ClassFlow. And so now the student is in my period 2 class. Okay. Now this student already has an account. So now I'm going to add them into another one of my classes. Let's say I want to add them into my grade 4 class. So remember, I'm going to click on that roster, and this time they only need that code because they already have a class or an account. So here I am going to roster, look at my roster. I have nobody rostered in here right now. So I am going to have this student, see where it says enter class code. I'm going to have them enter this 6T8GC. So they're going to enter 6T8GC. GC, and you'll notice it automatically types it in as all caps. I don't have to worry about that. And then it says enroll or join class. I want my student to click enroll because I want them to be enrolled in that class. I don't want them to just join the class for a short moment. I want them to enroll. And so you'll see now in my roster, here's my period 2. In my roster, I haven't assigned anything, and Hortense is in my class. In my 4th grade roster, Hortense is in my class. So I can have my students rostered. Now I can deliver those flipped classroom lessons or regular, like I would deliver an open class lesson, except this is something then that I can save to their feed. So you'll notice on the student side now, in their feed, things can be added. So if Hortense is in my period 2, there's nothing that's been added. There's no delivered assignments, there's no notebooks, and there's no badges. Tomorrow in 2-Tip Tuesday, I'm going to share with you a couple of tips about how to deliver lessons to your rostered class. So make sure that you look at that, and you'll be able to learn how to take your ClassFlow to another level and keep that momentum going. Promethean Power is amazing for the remote, hybrid, and even in-person, face-to-face. And with ClassFlow, you can harness that power even if you do not have a Promethean panel in your classroom.